If you've been gardening for a while, you've probably heard the same potassium advice repeated again and again. Use wood ash, and yes, wood ash works, but it's fast, harsh, easy to overdo, and often misunderstood. Over the years, working soil the hard way and watching plants respond season after season, I've learned there's a quieter, slower, far more powerful potassium source that most gardeners have completely forgotten. It isn't flashy, it doesn't burn plants, and it doesn't disappear after the next rain. It's a stone. On Soilpower, we're all about building soil that feeds plants long after we stop adding inputs. Today, I want to walk you through one of the most underrated soil amendments I know, the potassium-rich stone that transforms weak, tired soil into mineral-dense, biologically active ground that keeps producing year after year. Before we talk about stones, let's talk about why potassium matters so much. Potassium isn't about leafy growth like nitrogen, and it's not about roots and flowers like phosphorus. Potassium is about function. It controls how efficiently plants use water, how well they resist disease, how strong their stems are, and how well they fill fruit. So, if your tomatoes look healthy but, taste kinda flat, potassium is often missing. And if your peppers are flowering but keep dropping fruit, potassium is usually part of the problem there too. If your plants seem to wilt faster than they should even when the soil seems pretty decent, potassium is likely low or just not available to them. You know, the mistake a lot of gardeners make is thinking potassium has to be fast. But in nature it's almost never fast. Potassium gets released slowly from rock, it's held in clay, exchanged by microbes, and fed to plants gradually over time. That's actually where the forgotten stone comes in. Wood ash delivers potassium quickly, but honestly, that speed comes at a cost. It raises soil pH really aggressively, and that can lock up other nutrients your plants need. It also dissolves fast, so heavy rains can wash a lot of it away. And, well, it's inconsistent. Different ashes contain wildly different nutrient levels. In small doses, ash is fine, but as a primary potassium strategy, it's like feeding plants sugar instead of real food. The soil gets a spike, then a crash. Stone-based potassium works differently. It doesn't spike, it builds. The stone I'm talking about comes under a few names depending on where you are. Feldspar, granite dust, or potassium-rich rock minerals. In natural soils, this is one of the original sources of potassium. Long before fertilizers existed, plants relied on weathering rock. Feldspar contains potassium locked inside a silicate structure. On its own, it breaks down slowly, but soil life, moisture, root acids, and time unlock it in a steady, reliable way. Instead of forcing potassium into the soil, you're stocking the pantry and letting biology do the cooking. This is not instant gratification, it's long-term soil power. One of the biggest advantages of stone-based potassium is, honestly, its safety. You just can't burn plants with feldspar, and you can't really overdose in a single season either. The potassium is released gradually as microbes and fungi interact with the mineral surface. Mycorrhizal fungi in particular really excel at accessing potassium from rock. Once you add stone minerals and support fungal life, the soil becomes, well, self-feeding. Plants tap into that network whenever they need potassium instead of waiting for you to apply more inputs. This is actually how natural forests stay productive for centuries without fertilizer. If you garden in clay soil, or soil that's been farmed hard, potassium stone is pretty much a game changer. Clay holds potassium well, but only if it's available in the first place. When you add feldspar, clay particles act like nutrient banks, holding released potassium instead of letting it leach away. In sandy soil, the benefit is different but just as powerful. Stone dust increases mineral diversity, feeds microbes, and improves structure over time. I've seen lifeless sand slowly turn darker, crumbly, and productive simply by adding rock minerals and organic matter together. This is not a quick fix. It's soil rebuilding. The biggest mistake gardeners make with rock minerals is expecting immediate results. This amendment works best when applied before you need it. I apply potassium stone when building beds, recharging tired soil, or prepping areas for heavy feeders like tomatoes, squash, and fruit trees. Work it into the topsoil or spread it before mulching. Moisture and organic matter accelerate its effectiveness. Pairing stone minerals with compost leaf mold or fermented plant inputs dramatically increases breakdown speed. Once it's in the soil, you don't need to reapply every year. Think in terms of seasons and soil cycles, not calendar reminders. The changes aren't dramatic overnight, but they're unmistakable. Over time, you'll see plants develop thicker stems and a stronger structure. Fruit flavor really improves, especially in tomatoes, melons, and root crops. Leaves become more resilient to heat stress, and flower drop decreases. Disease pressure softens too. Most importantly, the soil itself changes. It becomes easier to work, darker in color, and just, well, more alive. Worms start to show up, and you'll even notice fungal strands appearing under mulch. Water infiltration improves as well. This is potassium doing its real job, not forcing growth, but supporting life. Some gardeners confuse feldspar with green sand, and while both supply potassium, they behave differently. Green sand releases potassium faster but contains less total potassium overall. Feldspar releases more slowly, but holds a much larger reserve. I often use both strategically, green sand for quicker availability, feldspar for long-term supply, but if I had to choose one for rebuilding soil from the ground up, I'd choose the stone every time. You'll see the greatest benefit if your soil has been chemically fertilized, overworked, or left bare for years. Raised beds filled with peat-heavy mixes also respond incredibly well because they lack mineral depth. Fruit trees, vines, and perennial crops thrive when potassium stone is added early. This is not just a garden input, it's a soil investment. At Soilpower, we don't chase quick results, we chase resilient systems. Potassium stone fits that philosophy perfectly. It doesn't fight nature, it works with it. It supports microbes, feeds fungi, and builds soil memory that lasts far beyond one growing season. Once you stop thinking like a fertilizer applicator and start thinking like a soil builder, everything changes. If you've been relying on wood ash or quick-fix potassium sources, I encourage you to step back and think long-term. The forgotten potassium stone may not give you instant gratification, but it will give you something far better. Consistent harvests, stronger plants, and soil that improves instead of degrades. This is how gardens gain power quietly, season after season. If you found this article helpful, make sure to subscribe to Soilpower, share it with a fellow gardener, and keep building soil that works for you, not against you. The more we understand the ground beneath our feet, the more food flavor and resilience we grow above it.